with allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm seeking a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Reidinger. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Castillo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? Next is we are going to move right into a 1-hour closed meeting. So for our friends in the audience, if you want to take a walk or get a cup of coffee, we will be back at 8 o'clock. Would someone please read us into closed?
Madam Chair, pursuant to the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, I move that the board convene a closed meeting for the following purpose: to discuss or consider the identified subject matter, personnel under Section 2.23711A1, in particular superintendent's contract, and staff appointments, staff change in position, dependent care leave, long-term medical leave, child care leave request, and advisory committee appointments and reappointments. In public safety under Section 2.23711A19, in particular, discussion of plans to protect public safety as it relates to terrorist activity and briefings by staff members, legal counsel, or law enforcement or emergency service officials concerning actions taken to respond to such activity or a related threat to public safety.
Thank you, Mr. Reidinger. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Aye.
Ms. Litton? Aye. Mr. Reitinger?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
And Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Thank you.
Would someone please move to reconvene? Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yep. Oh, yes. Oh. Okay, would someone please move to reconvene to open meeting?
Madam Chair, I move that we reconvene.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We got Marty doing the, okay, would someone please certify the closed meeting? Okay, thanks.
Whereas the City of Falls Church School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3711B of the Code of Virginia requires that a certification by the school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law, now therefore it be resolved that the Falls Church City School Board hereby certify that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
Thank you, Ms. Litton. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Ms. Goodell?
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Castillo? Aye. Ms. Gill?
Aye.
Ms. Litton?
Aye.
Mr. Reitinger?
Yes.
Ms. Russell? Yes. And Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your patience. We had some closed meetings that we need to take care of, and I'm sorry they ran a little bit long tonight. We're going to move right into 4.01, our spotlight on Team FCCPS and morning meeting. Dr. Noonan?
Thank you, Chair Gill. Good evening, everybody, and thank you all very much for your patience as well. Want to thank everyone for being here tonight. We have some really special guests here tonight that I want to just welcome. We have Sarah Mim, Meg Frazier, Julian Lowe, Lori Prather, and Katie Reardon. We're really glad that you guys are here. They are here tonight to talk about morning meeting, which actually is an outgrowth of Responsive Classroom. And some of you may have heard me talk about Responsive Classroom, but RC is a program that works specifically on positive behavior support and how to develop and support a strong sense of community in the classroom that works with students in a very positive way. The program was brought in through a number of different people, but I want to also recognize Julie Macrina, who's not here tonight, but Julie was a big part of bringing the work of Responsive Classroom forward as well, and many of our teachers went to a training this summer. And so tonight, we have some really awesome people that are here that are also available after the video to answer any questions that you might have about morning meeting, but we want to thank them for being here and let the video roll.
When I first started teaching at my first school, we did morning meeting, and I've done it ever since. It's a great way to start the day with everyone together.
Morning meeting is a time for a class to come together before school, and we start with a greeting, we do a share, and then we do an activity.
There's always a greeting where you go around and greet everyone and make sure that everyone hears their name at least once. The share could be like a would you rather Wednesday, like would you rather eat pizza for a month or cheeseburgers for a month. There's an activity that's usually a game of some kind, and that's a great place to bring in like math or language arts or social studies. And the fourth part is a morning message. Sometimes that's a quote. Sometimes I try to bring in grammar, and we'll talk about commas, and they have to figure out where commas go in a sentence. Teachers can kind of take what parts they want or what works for them in that day, and that's part of why I love it. On Tuesdays, I have Spanish at 9:10, so I can be very mindful about what activities I pick that would kind of be fast and get us to Spanish, and other days, if I can tell that we need a little more grounding, we can spend a longer time.
I think that we wanted to get kids and teachers to connect more and to help even like all the kids. So some kids are more shy, some kids are able to speak more, and just have everyone kind of be on that equal footing.
If I didn't speak to the students' social and emotional goals, I would be missing a huge opportunity in my classroom. Through morning meeting, you get to teach those social skills, those emotional skills. Even just learning how to shake someone's hand and look them in the eye to say hello are important skills that you can teach in morning meeting. You get to know your students in a different way. You get to know them on a very personal level and find out their likes and dislikes, and you get to see them interact with classmates.
So we're doing something before class, but you see it later in the day too. Like when we're having group discussions, small activities, I think more people want to participate, speak more, there's more perspectives. And as a teacher, like it makes me feel more connected with my students.
Just by starting the day together, I think it sets the stage that you're all here for one purpose and you're all here to work together.
So, Madam Chair, as we invite them up and you formulate some questions that you might have for them, I just want to invite them up, but also say that this work that they've been engaged in certainly speaks to one of our major areas of focus this year, which is around developing a community of care and culture, and a caring culture. And hopefully, even in that very brief video, you saw some things that really produce results around students being really great citizens in an IB system that really speaks to that relational aspect of schooling as well. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
And I will open up to the board. Questions, comments from the board? I know I have one, but I'll let everyone else go first. Me? Mr. Castillo?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It looks like a really great way to start the day. Do you continue to mix it up? Do you alter where the students sit, or how do you feel like you get in patterns? What's some of the ongoing dynamic about it?
Well, we usually come to the front circle, and in our classroom, we can't really form an actual circle, so it's more of like a heart or sometimes a pear-shaped. But the students usually pick their spots, and they're able to, pick a spot where they feel comfortable, and from there, we go around and greet each other. And the goal is to get through all 4 components of the morning meetings, but sometimes, like Meg was saying, time-wise, it's a little difficult, but, like our activity may go a little bit longer, but we do try and encompass all of it.
Oh, so my son is in Mrs. Lowe's class, and he said one of his favorite parts of the day is morning meeting, and that he was very sad that you can't do morning meeting anymore because the day is so busy, and that you were trying to figure out how to work it in other times of the day. So how are you guys doing? I know, like, as schedules change, especially in 4th and 5th grade, math starts moving and Tiger Paws. How do you work in the same idea at other points in the day?
Well, fortunately, we've had the opportunity to do some rearranging of our schedule. So in the morning now, we will be able to conduct morning meeting, which I love having it in the morning. For the last couple of weeks or so, we've been switching to the afternoon, which still makes a really wonderful impact because it gives the kids an opportunity to create a safe space, reflect on happenings in the morning. But it is different, and it's such a great way to start the day in the morning. But you can also tie things in at the end of the day, use reflection at the very end of the day. I'm sure Nate has spoken to you before of our roses and thorns that we do at the end of the day. But now we can do it in the morning, so we're set to go.
Any other questions from the board, comments from the board? Mr. Reidinger?
So what's the grade range for doing morning meetings? Because I know my kids are all in high school, but they'd really like it if they could do it.
The grade range for morning meeting is really a K through 12 event. I know we're really strong in TJ right now. We would love Mount Daniel to be doing it as much as we are. We're at the initial stages, so I would love to see it extend to the high school. I don't know the logistics behind that and how that would work, but I think that's like a wonderful place to go.
So do you teach the kids how to shake hands, or do they all know?
You teach the kids. I mean, there's some kids who know, and there's some kids who just haven't had the opportunity yet to learn how to do it. And so it's a time where you can explicitly teach them skills that will take them throughout their whole life.
Right, and we're talking about shaking hands, but it's also such an amazing opportunity to bring in all those cultures in the classroom. So maybe shaking hands is not the way another culture greets one another, and we get to learn that from the children, and they get to share that with their class, and then everyone gets to participate. So it's such an amazing way to introduce our culture, but also bring in everyone else's from the classroom.
I don't have a question, but just a comment. Miss Ma'am, I don't know what you're doing this year, but Otto is excited to go to school every day, and that's a miracle with him. So thank you for your hard work.
It's morning meeting.
It's totally morning meeting.
Of course it's morning meeting.
So thank you.
Just to pick up on something that was mentioned, morning meeting being a K-12 solution, possible way of approaching the day. One of the ways that you can work it in at some of the upper levels is just through morning message. And sort of how do you start the day, and there may be a question that you ask of kids, and sort of a story starter for a conversation, or asking them to begin the day having a conversation with somebody about that morning message can also be a nice application.
Well, I hear nothing but positives about morning meeting from all 3 of my kids. So you're doing something right, and thank you very much for bringing this to our district this year.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have public comment. 5.01, in accordance with School Board Bylaw 2.30, the time for each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Additional written statements may be submitted to the clerk for dissemination to board members and for the record. Ms. Goodell, do we have comments?
Yes, you had one that came in from Catherine Sechrist, and she wanted to make sure that the City Council and School Board are working together alongside with Fairfax representatives to ensure that our students have safe biking routes to school at Henderson and Mason.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Goodell.